Hello.
What?
I didn't know. Don't look at my camera. Welcome once again to Speakeasy with Paul F. Tompkins. I am still Paul F. Tompkins. And my guest today, you will recognize from his television program Review on Comedy Central, as well as countless other film and television appearances. Please say hello to Mr. Andy Daly. Andy,
Thank you.
Thank you.
What a treat. Shall we do this thing where people clink their glasses?
Clunk.
Seen it done. You can't count the television shows and movies.
They're countless.
No, you can count them.
You can count them, you're saying?
You could count. A person could count
You're
them.
saying that technology now enables us to count your film and television appearances.
I believe so. It is a finite number.
Have you counted them?
No, I suppose I haven't.
Well, then how am I to trust you that they can be counted?
I can't defend my position because I myself have not done it, nor do I know anyone who has counted them.
This is a real gotcha show.
Classic gotcha.
You got.
Yep.
You're in the hot seat.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you questions, and
I'm not going to answer any of these questions, by the way.
because you're afraid of the truth getting out?
Very terrified
About
of the
your
truth.
various
Well, now I
projects?
realize everything is a gotcha.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that, right? I guess the secret to being a gotcha show is not announcing that you're a gotcha show at the very top.
Right.
All that bullshit aside.
That's a lot of bullshit.
It's a lot of bullshit to put aside.
All right.
You and I know each other IRL, as they say, in real life.
I think I only pieced together, literally in the last week, that that's what IRL stands for. So it's amazing that we're putting it to use like this.
I thought you were going to say, I've only pieced together in the last week that we know each other. Now, that's why you're familiar today. We've worked together many times on various things. A lot of podcasts.
Countless podcasts.
Countless. No, you can count podcasts.
Have you tried?
No.
Gotcha. Fuck. That feels good.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Payback.
I can see why I
Instant
do it. Is it hard being a working actor, not just a working actor, but Review, you're acting in the show, you are part of the writing, even though there's a lot of, there's an improvisational element to it. You are producing the show as well, so you're editing and stuff like that. So that's a lot of time that you're not necessarily with your family.
Yeah.
And is that difficult for you?
It is really hard because I could easily work 24 hours a day on Review. You know what I mean? Like at the end of every day, if I want to make it home for dinner, I have to leave in the middle of something. It is never like, okay, wrap that up and off I go. I really have to put a pause, and there are other people. I'm always the first one to leave. Other people are there still working away, so that is hard. And then when we're shooting, they're 12-hour days, and so some of those days I'll see them in the morning. I rarely see them at night, so yeah.
I mean, do they make it known that they miss seeing Dad around the house?
Sure, sometimes I get written notes and pictures drawn and things like that. They lay it on thick. They're not subtle. Yeah. Yeah.
What do the notes say?
Just stuff like
I wish you were here more.
Not that bad, but you know, all they need to say is "We love you," and that's bad enough.
Oh, okay. It's not like
dare they.
It's not like I turned 6 yesterday. Thought you might be interested in hearing about it.
I have not yet missed one of their birthdays. I look forward to it.
God
I look
bless you.
forward to having the kind of career where I have to miss my children's birthdays.
When you hear the song "Cats in the Cradle," or "Cat's Cradle," I believe it's called.
I think it's aspirational.
You're saying one day I'm going to be just like him.
One day, the demands of my professional life will be such that I cannot ever see my children. One day.
That is the double-edged sword, though, is that, you know, it's a weird business that does not have a lot of set times to it.
Yeah.
Do you ever worry that you're missing out on stuff?
I do. Yeah, sure I do. But I keep thinking that a finish line is coming where I will be able, but that doesn't seem to happen. It hasn't happened in a while. It's funny because those periods of time in show business, a lot of people who aren't in show business don't know about these periods of time, when you are sort of contractually held to something, but it's not happening right now.
Right.
So you are literally sort of being paid to do nothing. You can't do anything. You can't work. Those times I handle those very poorly because I'm very anxious about, like, when am I going to hear let's get to work.
Even though you know you have work that's
No,
guaranteed.
because actually a lot of the
right.
time it's actually waiting to hear time.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the worst.
Right.
But I also recognize now that those are magical times actually when somebody has told you cannot work. You know, so those come around, and I think I'll have one in the next few months. That'll be a time when I will be contractually obligated to do nothing but spend time with my children.
Do you feel like, or have you been accused of working too much?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, by my wife.
For example.
For example. Yeah. Also because I'll come home and I will be fully present while I'm home, but once the kids are asleep, it's really hard not to open up the laptop and just go. As I was saying, when I left, I had a number of problems still to solve.
Yeah.
And now I've got a couple of hours of awake time. I could solve them, and I'd like to. And that's, yeah, it's hard to put that limit on it.
This is a problem I deal with sometimes. That when you make yourself do something for pleasure, for whatever, like take a break from work and you're gonna read a book,
Yeah.
or you're gonna watch a movie or play a video game or something like that. It's the simultaneous, I'm enjoying doing this, but also feeling guilty that I'm not doing the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
I'm not a relaxer, I gotta say. It's very rare, because even when I'm not
Have you always been that way?
No, I was really good at relaxing in my 20s. I spent lots and lots of time. I'm sure I've seen every Behind the Music, for instance. You know, it doesn't get more relaxing than that. I spent the whole 1990s making sure I knew everything about what happened to Three Dog Night. But, you know.
At the half hour, that's when things really get bad.
You know, there was a point
start building back up.
There was a point where I realized, oh, there's just a formula to this. They just plug in the band.
Yeah.
It's an absolute formula. But I still watched it for a long time after that. I was like,
Absolutely.
oh, I'm enjoying the formula. Christopher Cross is making the best music of his life, and it's finally a piece. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. They have to say that at the end, whether it's true or not.
But so when did it turn? When did it become that you couldn't relax anymore?
I do think, well, ironically, you know, having kids was part of it. You know, that you have to make some more money. Then you got to put them through school and all that stuff.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think it's that your entire worldview shifts. It's that this other worldview is layered on top of the worldview you already have, which is like, I do this thing for a living and I want to go out and I want to be successful and I want to keep working and everything. But then this other thing is layered on top of it. It was like, no, now I have to do this.
Yeah.
It's not so much that I want to do it, but this has to happen.
This is an ongoing debate in our house, because I'm often saying to my wife, I'm working so hard because we have to make money. And she's like, can you think of one thing that you have said yes to that you would have said no to if you didn't have kids? And I'm like, I don't know. No, because I do love it too.
It's a real gotcha household.
Yeah, it's true.
Review is your show on Comedy Central.
Yes.
You play Forrest McNeil.
True.
This guy, he's going to review life experiences. Some people review books. People review movies. People will go on Yelp and say, I didn't like this amusement park.
Yeah, this is the pitch. This is the pitch right here. You're doing it beautifully.
Are you into this show?
I'm into it.
Yeah.
And what does he review? He reviews life experience instead of the things you
That's
just
right,
mentioned?
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's based on an Australian show.
Yeah.
And you know, it's a very funny idea of this guy is going to review like getting divorced. He's going to review, you know, getting in a fight, whatever.
Right.
But your adaptation of the show, you decided you wanted everything that he reviews to have repercussions on his life.
Right.
So that it's not just a one-off, he did this thing and then it's done.
Yeah.
It's like so this poor guy is carrying the weight around of everything that he decides to do. This person's mentally ill, right? This character? Because the idea that he feels like he is bound to do it, like somebody says, what? Because the suggestions come from the viewing audience. Somebody says, Forrest, what is it like to get divorced?
Right.
And so then he has to divorce his wife out of nowhere. She does not see it come.
For
no reason
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Not able to give her a reason.
So what do you think, playing this character, what is it that makes this guy say, I have to do this?
I think he truly believes that this is incredibly important work that will open people's eyes and illuminate and educate and instruct people, and that he is uniquely qualified to do it because of his special insights into the world and into life. No, this must be done, and no one else can do it. And the things that people ask him to do, yes, they may be very challenging. They may be life-destroying things, but there's a reason they're asking. They need to know, is this a good thing to do or not? Should I do it or not? And so he has an incredible sense of purpose and of mission, which sometimes falters, and that's when we have these scenes where he goes to his producer, Grant, and says to him, I can't do this one. And this producer, who we feel is mainly motivated by the demands of television, finds various different ways to turn the screws and remind him of his sense of mission and force him to do the things that even he, and even Forrest in his mental illness would say, I can't do that. Now this season, I'm excited to say in season 2, Forrest has come back with, he has the ability to veto 2 reviews.
Now, last season, if he could have vetoed 2 reviews, which ones do you think he would have vetoed?
For sure, divorce. He would definitely have vetoed divorce. Maybe orgy, or making a sex tape. But no, probably the one right out of the gate that he was like, eesh, might have been an orgy.
Last season, there were 2 episodes where he had to eat a large number of pancakes. First time, I think it was 15.
That's right.
And the second time, was it 30?
30 pancakes.
How much pancake did you have to consume in life while you were shooting those shows?
Yes. I think I probably consumed really just 1 total pancake because...
Still too much though, right?
Still too much pancake. Because the other thing about it is I had a lot of pancake in my mouth that then got spit out, but all of that pancake had Aunt Jemima syrup on it.
Sure.
So I had probably like a gallon of syrup in my mouth.
I think pancakes are a young man's game because I think they're for children because they seem like they're a good idea at the time, and then you eat them and it's always like, whoa. Yeah. And I'm not talking about crazy, stack where you at a restaurant where you get it for free if you eat all of them. I'm saying like even just like 2 pancakes.
Just 2 pancakes.
It's a lot.
These are superlative pancakes.
Well, I'm saying even the best pancake.
Yeah.
It sits heavy.
That's true.
On your guts.
But sometimes somebody will make a special pancake.
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice.
I'm thinking of a particular pancake, which we can talk about afterwards.
So it's more about the place that prepares it.
That's right.
And not well, what's in this pancake? Can you tell me that? Or will that give it away?
I believe they put ricotta cheese in their pancakes.
Oh, sounds good. This is how pancakes get me. If somebody tells me about some special pancake, then my day is ruined from eating breakfast. I want to talk about the Andy Daly podcast pilot project.
Good job.
Very difficult name to remember all the words in the correct order.
Because the order is not very important. You could easily shift the order and it wouldn't change the meaning.
Pilot podcast project.
Sure.
Pilot project podcast. That also works.
What did you say?
Pilot project podcast.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Well, pilot podcast project.
It's project pilot. And then the podcast.
I see.
Like the is implied.
Project pilot podcast.
Let's stop saying it. The Andy Daly podcast pilot project.
Great. I didn't think you were going to get it right after all that.
Oh, I almost didn't.
Yeah.
That is you as various characters. Each episode a different character who is doing a pilot for a podcast.
Right.
And these characters range from Dalton Wilcox, the poet laureate of the West. Don DeMello, theatrical director. Bill Carter, trainer to the stars.
Seeking stars.
One thing that your characters all share is
murder.
A chilling darkness. There's at the heart of all of them. It gets into really dark territory.
I think it's different in different cases. Like for instance, Don DeMello, who is probably the darkest, most disgusting character.
Truly a disgusting human being.
Yeah.
He is an elderly director of the Radio City musical holiday extravaganza, and he is very much about putting on a show that includes something for Daddy.
A little something for Daddy.
Yeah.
Well, that one came about because I was flipping through the paper and saw an ad for the Radio City Christmas Spectacular, and it's got Santa Claus flying through the sky, and then it's got these leggy dancers on the stage. And I was like, that's an odd combo when you think about it.
Yeah.
Why are these beautiful leggy dancers dancing across the stage in a children's show? That's odd.
Yeah.
Right? And so then I started thinking about who's in charge of that. You know what I mean? Because it's probably not a cool guy that's running the Rockettes show. I'll bet you.
Well, the fact that it has not been questioned for decades.
Yeah.
Like there's nobody that says, do they have to dress that way?
Right. And that they're all the same height, apparently.
Yeah.
And the fun of it was that he's there for the Rockettes. That's his real. If it was up to him, it would just be the Rockettes. But also he has to do Santa Claus and a live nativity, which involves an actual baby and camels and all this stuff. And he's got to do all that other stuff. But they've got the worst guy in the world to do it because he's all about the Rockettes.
But I guess that's the thing is that you come up with a type of person, a character that has a strange occupation or whatever their outlook is, whatever. Maybe it's a physicality thing, maybe it's a voice thing, and then do you ask every time, well, what's wrong with him?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Although there are times, for instance, August Lint. August Lint, the first time I did him on I think it was the Comedy Death Ray podcast at that time, now Comedy Bang Bang, he was just a super enthusiastic German tourist. And no matter what happened to him, he was going to be happy about it. And then, so I was just, that was all I was playing, actually. There was nothing wrong with him. He was just too happy. And Scott Aukerman said at some point, he goes, what is that you're holding? Is that a suicide note? He did that entirely.
He totally imposed that?
Oh, yes, completely.
What is that you're holding? Is that a suicide note?
He put that on the character. And from that point forward, he's been a suicidal German tourist. Yeah, right.
So you might do a second season of the podcast.
Yeah.
So completely different characters than the first 8?
I think that there will be some, my thought is that there will be some new characters, but there will be some who, in the conceit of our world, have been given notes to resubmit. So that some of the favorites from season 2 will be back with a second crack at a pilot.
That's a medium that is relatively new and has certainly started after our time, after we had already been performing for quite a while.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that medium?
I do, because it went from being terrifying to me to be like on a single camera shoot, let's say, were probably my first experience of doing comedy with no immediate feedback. There are people behind a monitor somewhere who may or may not be laughing, and you don't know, and you will leave not knowing if anybody liked what you just did, which was terrifying at first. But now I find it very liberating. To, like, I don't know I don't know how they feel at the monitor.
Right. I think that with things like that, you can often all of a sudden be in your head about it out of nowhere.
Right.
You have those weird moments of clarity of like, all of a sudden you see it's all the cameras, it's all like people like looking, like what's going on down there. It's, you know.
I never really have doing review that feeling of being alone and it's all on me because I run the show with Jeffrey Blitz, who directs every episode and is a great director and great with both telling you when it's working and telling you when it's not in a way that's like, here's a problem and we need to crack it. And I enjoy that process too. I enjoy that process of being on a set and having somebody say, this is not really working, and like trying to crack it.
Yeah.
Give yourself a little
because there's a way to say it. I mean, it's like, it's about, you know, just saying it's not funny is not, that's not a good enough note.
Right.
Like it's got to be, you have to really get to the bottom of it.
Oh, and I've had those notes, yeah. I've definitely had those where it's like, the worst is like, you know, at the table read, you did something. Can you do that again? Right. We liked you at one time. No, we really don't.
Can you tell us some of the experiences that Forrest is going to review on season 2, and some of the people, some exciting people we can look forward to being on the show?
Gosh, I don't know at this point what constitutes a spoiler and what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? What if I say it now while I go back to Comedy Central and they'll say, boy, I wish you hadn't said that.
Well, do you know what the first episode is going to be?
Yes, I'll tell you what. First episode, Forrest will experience a bare-knuckle brawl, blackmail, and glory holes.
It's 3 experiences.
Yeah.
3 separate reviews?
3 separate reviews.
Okay. It's not that one, like a glory hole led to a bare knuckle brawl. That would be a spoiler.
I have no comment on that. Those are the 3 things that are going to be in motion.
Fun guest stars?
Fun guest stars. In our first episode, Allison Tolman, who everybody loves so much in Fargo.
Yes.
Wonderful in that. And can I remember being, well, Lennon Parham. Jessica St. Clair will be back. Oh, you know who plays my dad? Max Gale.
From Barney Miller?
Barney Miller.
That's crazy.
Such a sweetheart of a guy and such a wonderful actor with a fascinating biography. Yes, he is great. Yeah.
Will there be archival footage of Fred Willard, who plays your late father-in-law?
Maybe.
Spoiler?
I don't know.
Oh!
Wow. Maybe. I don't know
what that noise meant. Andy Daly, what a pleasure to chat with you.
You did not enjoy your Southside Fizz as much as I did.
This is my second one.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I pound these drinks.
Oh, okay.
Cheers. That does it for this edition of Speakeasy. Please join us again next time when my guest will be a different person.
Sure.
I drink a lot of drinks all day long.
Okay. It's delicious, isn't it?
It's really very good. It's the fizz part that I like the most.
Oh, that's funny because I like the south side.
What? Opposites.
You know, I had a friend like, hey, if you need a gun, I got you.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't need a gun. And I'd hang up, and then I'd turn on the news, see my face, and think, I might need a gun.